Hello everyone, and welcome back to the space where we say that I can sleep. I hope you all are doing well and taking good care of yourselves. And when I say take good care of yourselves, that means you are eating well, staying hydrated, sleeping well, making sure you are healthy physically and mentally as well. I hope you all have peace of mind. You guys are not stressing or struggling more than what is necessary, which means nothing that is supposed to be out of what you guys are meant to be struggling and stressing about, usually. Nothing unnecessary. So I hope you guys are doing okay, and I am currently working on being okay myself. So where we left off on the last entry is that we have just entered the territory of the Ghost King / one of the four calamities, Blackwater. So it is great to finally be introduced to another one of the calamities. So I can't wait to get into that. I hope you guys are excited as well. And of course, per usual, I hope you guys are enjoying these readings. And if you guys would like for me to continue doing these readings, you can show your support by leaving me likes, sharing my stuff, leaving me comments, and following me on all of my platforms like here on YouTube and Spotify at iKenSleep, Instagram and TikTok at officially.ikenwin, as well as the Patreon or Patreon at officiallyikenwin, where you can find exclusive content like full-length audios, uncut, raw, where you hear all of my hiccups and mess-ups, if you guys would like. And if you guys would like, there will be other stuff as well. Give me ideas on what you guys would like to see from me. Now, let us ascend once again into Heaven Official's blessings. Chapter 62. Ships in the Lair of Ghosts Shall Sink. Part 1. One of the four Supremes? Ship sinking Blackwater? Shillian asked. Four calamities, not four Supremes. Only then did Shillian realize that he had subconsciously removed Qirong from the calamity ranks. This was likely because there was no way he could put Night Touring Green Lantern on the same level as the other three. As someone who had dutifully crammed with informative scrolls, Shillian knew a bit about ship sinking Blackwater. According to legend, he was a great and powerful water ghost who lurked in the outer seas. Like Crimson Rain sought flower, he slaughtered his way out of Mount Tonglu. Although he tended to keep a low profile, that profile was only low in the mortal and heavenly realms. He had devoured over 500 infamous nefarious creatures across the land, about 400 of which were other high-level water ghosts. The Blackwater Demon Lair was his personal domain. Just as Ghost City was under Huachang's jurisdiction alone, lawlessness reigned within these boundaries. When one stepped foot into a Supreme's domain, they had the final say. There was a widespread saying in the ghost realm: Crimson rules the land, Black masters the waters. Crimson obviously referred to Crimson Rain sought flower, who was known for his signature red clothing. Black was none other than Blackwater Demon Xuan. Water Master Xiong, you're really unlucky this time, Pei Ming said. But Demon Xuan isn't like the Green Ghost. He's not the type to look for trouble. Thankfully, we haven't strayed too far, so let's steer back quickly before we're discovered. The other stared at him. Well, why don't you change course then? Aren't you the one in charge of this ship? Pei Ming was equally confused. Did it not change course yet? The ship should follow my command on its own. It shouldn't require physical control. But the rudder didn't budge. With no other options, Pei Ming resorted to manual steering. But when his hand landed on the rudder, he furrowed his brows. Shilian went over as well. It won't move? It was impossible that Pei Ming lacked the strength for it. Shilian was fairly confident in his own strength, and yet he wasn't able to move it either. After examining the situation at hand, Ming Yi announced, "It must have gotten caught on something. I'll go down to take a look." Shi Qingxuan chimed in. "I'll go with you, Mingsheng." "Come back here," Shi Wudu said sternly. "Don't go running around." Shi Qingxuan didn't dare disobey, knowing that his brother shouldn't be distracted or emotionally agitated while he was undergoing his trial. He returned to Shi Wudu's side shamefaced, leaving Ming Yi to investigate under the deck alone. Shilian wanted to help, but he knew he wasn't as capable as the Earthmaster when it came to building and repairs. Even if he went, he wouldn't be able to do much. As he gazed into the pitch-black sea that surrounded them, Shilian remembered something more important. Did any fishermen end up around here? Hua Cheng had extremely good eyesight and had been working alongside Shilian in the search and rescue efforts. He was the one who had discovered many of the stranded fishermen. He did a quick survey around them. There shouldn't be, Hua Cheng concluded. Blackwater Demon Lair is in the South Sea. They wouldn't drift this far. And the area here has a barrier, so ordinary folk can't enter. Barring special circumstances, even if they did, they're beyond saving. Basically everything that drifts here sinks. The South Sea. He hadn't realized they drifted so far. Shilian tested his spiritual communication array, and sure enough, the connection was down. Their connection before had been spotty but still usable. Now, there was complete silence. Although the sea currently looked peaceful, there could be danger lurking in the abyssal depths. The sky was growing darker, and Shilian felt uneasy. Since there aren't any stranded fishermen in these parts, if Lord Earthmaster can't repair it, why don't we abandon ship and head ashore? Lord Watermaster can return to the East Sea for his trial, and we can continue the search and rescue as well, he suggested. That works, Pei Ming agreed and opened the cabin door. Yet when he pulled open the door, instead of dry land, he was met with the interior of an empty cabin. His face changed at the sight. The teleportation array lost its power? Hua Cheng laughed. Isn't that obvious? If you can't use the spiritual communication array, why would the teleportation array work any better? Pei Ming sent a sidelong glance at him. Little friend, you seem quite calm for someone so young. Not worried at all, are you? He commented flatly. The ship drifted into ghost territory and is sinking as we speak, Shilian interrupted. We can't leave even if we want to. Let's solve the problem at hand first. Shi Qingxuan called under the deck. Mingsheng, how's the situation looking down there? Can you fix it? Ming Yi's voice came from below. Nothing's broken. The ship isn't caught on anything either. Something else made the ship lose power. That would be Demon Shuren's spiritual field, Pei Ming stated gravely. As he was speaking, the ship dipped violently again. Xilian saw that water had already swallowed over half the ship. A normal boat would have given way to the waves by now, but this one still resisted and fought to stay afloat due to its divine prevalence. There must be exceptions. It's impossible that everything sinks here, he insisted. There must be something that won't sink. There is, Hua Cheng said. All attention fell on him. With his arms folded, he elaborated lazily. There is one type of wood that will not sink in the Blackwater Demon Lair. Xilian guessed at several common special varieties of wood. Sandalwood? Agarwood? Elm? Coffin wood, Hua Cheng answered. Coffin wood? Yep, Hua Cheng said. No one has returned alive after stumbling into the Blackwater Demon Lair, except for one individual. He was traveling home with the corpse of a family member. After his boat sank, he rode the coffin and drifted back to shore. Pei Ming raised his brow. You sure know a lot, little friend. Hua Cheng mirrored his expression. Nah, you just know too little, that's all. Shi Wudu remained in his meditation position and his hands maintained their seal. But he turned his attention to Hua Cheng and narrowed his eyes. Pei Shang, I've been meaning to ask, who exactly is this? Where is he from? Why is he with you? I'm afraid you'll have to ask His Highness about that, Pei Ming explained. After all, he's someone from his palace. All right, Shi Qingxuan interrupted. Enough of that who knows how much talk. Now that spells have lost their power, where do we get a coffin around here? Well, that's easy, Pei Ming answered. Come. Gaga will build one for you right now. I'll show you what it means to take things into your own hands and live well without anyone's help. That won't work, Hua Cheng pointed out. It has to be a coffin that's carried a corpse. That was that then. It wasn't like they could build a coffin, then kill a person in the group to fill it. As they discussed the topic, the boat dipped again. The deck where they stood tilted and was almost level with the water's surface. And Shi Wudu nearly toppled out of his prim and proper meditation pose. Forget it! Let me handle this, he said coldly. He produced his fan and tapped it lightly against the center of his forehead, then fanned it out to reveal the character for water on the front and a wave pictogram made up of 3 curving lines on the back. He lifted his arm and issued a command. Water, come forth! Xilian felt the ship spring upward. The deck rose almost a meter above the waterline, and some sense of safety returned. The Watermaster fan even controls the waters of the Blackwater Demon Lair? He asked in surprise. Not the water here, Hua Cheng corrected. He channeled it from elsewhere. As it turned out, they hadn't ventured too far past the boundary of the Blackwater Demon Lair, so Shi Wudu was still able to call forth nearby waters to lift the ship from underneath. Beautifully done, Watermaster Shang, Pei Ming praised. Now that the rudder is useless, the boat can't even turn around. Quick, use the current to haul the ship back. Before Shi Wudu could reply, the ship dipped once again. The demon lair's water refused to concede defeat and clashed with the current from the outside seas. The dip was ruthless this time, and the deck tilted even more. Losing balance, the crew slipped to the bow of the ship. Although Shi Wudu was born with gentlemanly, handsome looks, his personality was extremely imperious, and he refused to retreat. Sensing that something dared to oppose him, anger flashed across his face. He snapped his fan shut, and when he opened it again, the 3 wave lines had grown larger and the outer current doubled in force. The ship was yanked up once again, with one force relentlessly dragging the boat down and another stubbornly forcing it to rise. The ups and downs made it seem like a giant game of tug-of-war. The ship sailed onward, then jolted to a stop, and it sank and rose with the motion. Waves crashed wildly around them, making seawater roll across the deck and into the ship. It was an extremely vexing situation. If ordinary folk were on board, they would be scared witless by now. Shilian gripped the ledge tightly with one hand while he held on to Huacheng tightly with the other. "What's happening? The ship is turning!" he exclaimed. It was just as he said. The ship had started spinning. The faster it spun, the lower it sank. Shilian abruptly realized that the ship had been dragged into a giant maelstrom and was being sucked into its vortex. "Everyone, be careful!" he warned. The 2 forces of water are clashing!" In the end, this was not Shi Wudu's home turf. While the current he'd summoned from the outer seas was mighty, it weakened after crossing the boundary. It was at a slight disadvantage in the fight against the tides of the demon lair. As expected, as soon as Shilian spoke, the ship was sucked into the vortex. Shilian tossed out Feng Xin at the last second and pulled Huacheng close. The 2 stepped onto the sword and flew up and away. At first, he was worried that Feng Xin wouldn't have the strength, but he let out a sigh of relief the moment they left the deck. Although it was shaky, at least the sword could still fly. They looked down from above to see the whole area was painted a deep, terrifying black. Below them were 2 massive currents of obviously different colors, and it was their pursuit of and clash with each other that had formed the colossal maelstrom. As the vortex swallowed the ship whole, the 2 water currents quickly separated. However, their battle was far from over. They continued to snap at each other like 2 venomous vipers, and each collision stirred angry waves. Shilian looked around. "Lord Windmaster? Lord Earthmaster? General Pei? Is everyone still here?" Shi Qingxuan's voice came from dozens of meters behind him. "Your Highness, we're over here!" "Did you hop on your sword as well?" Shilian turned, and the scene that greeted him left him speechless. Ming Yi stood atop of the handle of a crescent shovel. Shi Qingxuan was seated on the head of the same shovel and was waving at Shilian. They didn't ride forth on a sword, but a shovel. The sight was unbearable to witness. Pei Ming's voice also called to them from nearby. "Where's Watermaster Shang?" Seeing that Pei Ming was on his sword alone, and there was no sign of the Watermaster, Shi Qingxuan called out, "Ge! Ge!" "No need to panic. The Watermaster is the god of water. He can't have gone under, Xilian reassured him. But when he recalled the power of the whirlpool, he didn't dare underestimate its might. He turned to Huachang. Sanlang, hold on tight to my waist. Don't lose your grip and fall. Huachang very obediently did so. Okay. But Gaga, there's something I have to tell you. What is it? Xilian asked. You can't fly in the Blackwater Demon Lair. It'll attract things. Not a moment later, a long, sharp cry pierced the air. A behemoth, white creature broke through the water's surface and headed straight for Pei Ming. Pei Ming was a master swordsman, and he reflexively reached for his sword the moment he saw a monster attacking, only to belatedly realize said sword was under his feet. Luckily, his reaction was swift. He leapt into the air and grabbed his sword and sliced the incoming creature in half. Before gravity could take hold, he flipped back onto the sword without a single hair out of place. He steadily flew upward and asked, in a rather calm tone, "What was that?" After it was cleaved in half, the creature crashed back into sea with a mournful wail. Xilian squinted to get a better look at the creature floating on the water's surface. Fish? It was certainly a fish, but this wasn't your average sea creature. It was a skeletal fish over 15 meters in length and half a dozen meters wide. This fish was neither flesh nor scales, only stark white bones that connected to a mouth filled with sharp teeth. He couldn't immediately determine if it was venomous, but its bite would surely be a pain in the butt regardless. Pei Ming flew higher. Be careful! There's definitely more than one of those things, he warned. Sure enough, the moment he mentioned more than one, a second skeletal fish shot out from the depths. This time, it headed straight for Ming Yi and Shi Qingxuan. Unfortunately, the Earthmaster wasn't a martial god and had little fighting power, and the Windmaster was now in mortal flesh. On top of all this, Ming Yi was rusty when it came to shovel riding. Even though the two didn't get bitten, they were still knocked off balance and sent tumbling down to the waters below. As they fell, Shi Qingxuan cried out in despair. Ming Shang! After today, make sure you use your spiritual device more, okay? Screw off! Ming Yi snapped at him. Pei Ming sighed and rushed over to rescue the two. Seeing his skilled form, Xilian knew that he would be able to handle it on his own. It's not really Earthmaster's fault, he thought. A shovel as a spiritual device? No heavenly official with any sense of shame would want to bring it out. Just then, a chill ran down his spine. Xilian regained his focus and said, temperately, Sanlang, hang on tight and watch out. Something's coming our way. Okay. His arms tightened around his waist. Not long after, 4 watery walls shot up from the depths and surrounded them. 4 giant bonefish rose from the sea. To be continued.